Hello there. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Canada's Movie and TV Hosers. My name's Gregory Barrett. Normally I have my co-host Christine here with me, but she's still away visiting family. So instead it's just myself and our star Fluffy Kitty. But don't be fooled, this show's not about cats. It's about all things in pop culture we like to talk about. New and old movies, books, trailers, TV, streaming shows. Breaking down today's show for you, just like last week, because I'm just by myself and I've been busy doing other work instead of focusing on producing this show during the week. It's going to be a shorter episode, but breaking down today's episode, going to be talking about a new trailer that came out this week called A Million Miles Away, which is from Amazon Studios. Then I'm going to be talking about three new movies: Gran Turismo, based on a true story from Sony. Going to be talking the new comedy Strays in spoiler free. Oh, these are all going to be spoiler free. And also going to be talking about Blue Beetle as spoiler free. Going to be talking the new episode of Futurama that comes out on Monday. That's a spoiler talk. And also I'm going to be reviewing another movie, an older movie from 2003. The original recipe, Pirates of the Caribbean, #1. Because if you watched last week's episode, I was watching The Goonies because I got a new DVD of it for almost nothing. And I felt like watching some more swashbuckling, so I checked out Pirates of the Caribbean. Have been getting a lot of comments, and I've been answering all of them, but saving those up for when Christine's back, and then so that we can both talk about them so she can hear them as well. So first thing we're getting into this week is the new trailer for A Million Miles Away. And I was surprised about this because it's from Prime, Amazon Studios, and they don't have that much good stuff on there. It's rare that I watch anything on Prime because I just have Prime for, the shipping, and then the Prime Video is just extra that I get to watch. But this one, it's got Michael Pena, and I'm a big fan of Michael Pena. I don't really follow people like it's this actor, so I have to watch all their stuff, but I tend to enjoy a lot of the stuff that Michael Pena's in, even when he's in movies that aren't so good. It's not because of him. He's always given it his all. He's up there like 110%, and he's great. And he should be in a lot of things more often. He was really neat in that Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania that came out earlier this year. Where was he and David DeSmulchin and the other guy from his crew? They were really missed in that. But this movie is all about an immigrant farm worker. So he's Hispanic, and he's playing someone who comes up from a migrant family, and they work as farm workers. And his goal is he wants to be an astronaut. He wants to go to space. And this trailer really got to me. It really gets you right there. Because it's all about heart and character and this guy's perseverance, and also it's a classic underdog story. So this is coming out September 15th, and can't wait. I'm going to be there to watch it on Prime. Now, it says it's September 15th. I don't know if it's coming out in theaters or if it's going to be on streaming. If they have faith in it, they'll put it in theaters. If they don't have any faith in it, they'll put it directly to Prime, which is a shame. But anyway, even though if it goes straight to streaming, I'm probably still going to watch it because it's Michael Pena. And the trailer does look amazing. Hopefully it's not an amazing trailer for something that isn't so good. Anyway, looking forward to this new movie from Amazon Studios, A Million Miles Away. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. That'd be great. Anyone who gives us a viewing or a thumbs up, a like, that would be great. You can always subscribe for more content. Now, next I want to go into movies, and the first movie I'm going to talk about is one that I saw an early access screening last weekend. It's the Gran Turismo movie from Sony and their PlayStation titles, because they got all this IP, intellectual property there at Sony for PlayStation, so they're going to use that IP and make movies, which they've been doing for a while, which, video game movies aren't the greatest, but they're getting better. We've had some more successes lately. With Tomb Raider was pretty decent. People really love Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. Mario Brothers movie is the biggest movie so far this year. It's probably going to get overtaken by Barbie in, probably in a couple of weeks, maybe a little bit longer. But So you can't deny the success of some of these video game properties. So this one is a little bit different because they don't put you in the game. This is based on a true story. It's right in the title. So this is a spoiler-free talk. I did do an out of the theater reaction, which I posted on my channel last weekend, but I just wanted to delve into that more without spoiling it. I'm not a fan of racing. I'm also not a fan of playing the Gran Turismo video game. I don't really play a lot of video games. I just don't have the time. It's not that I got anything against it. And so going into this, I don't watch racing. I don't play Gran Turismo or other racing games. And I'm not into cars myself. I'm into pop culture. So going into this, I don't care about any of these things. And the trailers did not win me over at all. But going into this, I really had a good time. Could have been a bit shorter, but I didn't really feel the time that much. Maybe in the first half hour I felt it. Yeah, since it's been about a week since I saw it, there are some things I could remove from it. There's some minor storylines and some parts I could take out and probably trim it down by half an hour, but I still had a really good time, even watching the racing. And they use a lot of different cinematography and camera and even some visual effects techniques that it's just constantly changing it up, and you're really able to follow it along. This isn't a spoiler for the story, but some of the tricks that they use is they'll do freeze shots, and then so the cars will all freeze, and then the position will come up on one of the cars and say he's in this position now, or it changes and he's moving up or he's moving down, right? And I mean, there's drone shots, and there's, probably GoPros on the car sometimes too. And there's, looking out the views, the front windshield, so his point of view, and they're just constantly changing it up. And it works really well. I mean, there is they don't actually like follow him around the track, like, going for 5 minutes or so, but the cinematography and the direction with the camera shots, I really enjoyed that, and it really helps you follow along so you know where his race car is at all times and what position he's in, so you're never really kept guessing. It's like, what lap is this and how many does he have left, or like what position is he in, okay? So you know what's going on, and it's there's a few good funny jokes I mentioned in my the theater reaction. David Harbour's character, he starts off as a guy you don't like, but by the end I'm like, this guy's great. I mean, I always think David Harbour is great. He's one of those actors that he's really good in stuff, even if what he's in isn't necessarily very good. Like that last Hellboy movie that we got, he was great in it. Just wasn't exactly the greatest movie. And that kind of sucks for him, but he's still working, so that's good. And he's still in leads for movies there. He had a lot of success with that, what was that Santa movie from last Christmas? I can't remember. But anyway, getting back to this, he's really good in it, even if he's not the lead. I think it's him and then the main guy that's playing the driver there. I can't remember the name. What does this currently have on Rotten Tomatoes, I wonder? Let's see what it has there. It isn't even out yet. It doesn't officially come out until I think the last weekend in August. It's the 25th is when it comes out. But they keep doing all these early fan screenings. It currently has a 58% Rotten Critic rating. Now that's been going up and down. Last time I saw it, it was at 60%, and when I first saw it, before I went to go see the movie, it was at 41% critic rating, which was another reason I wasn't looking forward to it. But it has a 98% audience score with over 100 verified ratings. I recommend checking this out, even if you don't care about cars or racing or any of that, or video games, because I don't care about any of that stuff. And I still had a really fun time. This is a good movie for everyone to watch. And I said, I think in my theater reaction, it was probably the best racing movie I've seen since Days of Thunder, which is an old reference that came out in 1990. And this movie doesn't have Tom Cruise or Nicole Kidman or I think Michael Rooker was in Days of Thunder. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who else was in it there? Robert Duvall? Yeah, let me know if I'm wrong on either of those last two there, but yeah, there's a classic. If you want to check out a good racing movie, go check out that Days of Thunder. But if you got time to go to the theater and Gran Turismo's playing, go check it out. Hey there, Fluffy. Yeah, I would take you with me, but they won't let cats go into the theater there. So in terms of, I'm not spoiling any of it, but in terms of rating, I give it a best movie ever. Had a fun time with it. I doubt I'll go back to see it, but it was definitely worth the watch and definitely worth the 2 hours 15 minutes. That's the runtime. But I didn't really feel it that much. So, anyone else seen it early or when it comes out? Let me know what you think of Gran Turismo movie from Sony down in the comments below, please. Thanks to anyone who watched and likes this video. My next review is talking about Strays. Okay, so Strays came out just for this weekend, and I was able to go to. They set up an early hump day screening on Wednesday because, of course, the dogs are humping everything. It's one of the jokes in the movie. It's in the trailer a lot. So this is a spoiler-free review for Strays. Now, what is Strays looking at currently on Rotten Tomatoes? Because it's just come out here. It has a 54% Rotten Critics score. Sure. And a 73% audience score. So almost 3/4 of the audience are enjoying it. I posted another theater reaction for it, and I had a good time. I would have liked not to have so many things and so many of the jokes spoiled in the trailer, because we reviewed that a while ago, Christina and I, and that trailer is hilarious. It is just gut-bustingly funny. It wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be, because I want to be laughing throughout the whole thing. There is they do pull at the heartstrings a little bit. There is some emotional moments, but I kind of want there to be a lot more humor in it. Maybe I'm just asking for too much, but you got 4 really talented people in it. And they're also listed in the trailer. So it's Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, Isla Fisher, and Randall Park. And all of these people have done comedy before, and they're all really good at it. Especially Jamie Foxx, because Jamie Foxx got started back in comedy back in like the late 80s, early 90s. Anyone watch the show on Fox, In Living Color? Used to love watching that show. It was hilarious. So, the 4 dogs, it's essentially it's a story about 4 friends, except it's dogs, and they're on this quest, and they kind of talk about it in the trailer, but I'm not going to get into what their quest is. And so they're just 4 friends, and they go on this adventure, and it's definitely R-rated, and it's another talking dog movie. But unlike the previous talking dog movies we've gotten in the last 10 years, like Dog's Life, Dog's Purpose, there was another one. I didn't care for any of those, but I'm not a dog person. As you can see, Fluffy Kitty is here, so we have a couple of cats, not dogs. But I still had a fun time watching this Strays movie. It's those 4 actors, and they're really funny, and there's some cameos and guest appearances, like people in minor roles, but there is definitely one funny cameo. I'm not going to ruin it, but it's a live action cameo, and I laughed pretty hard at that. I thought that one was really good. You got Will Forte in there. He's in the trailer as well. He's the trash, deadbeat, terrible dog owner, and they get more into it in the movie. So yeah, he's playing a real dirtbag. He's still pretty good in it, though. There's a lot of gross moments in it. I'm not going to get into what that is, but you can guess what that is. I wouldn't take kids to go see this. I mean, if teenagers want to go see this and you're willing to take them, sure. I know it's rated R in the US. I don't think it's even rated R here in Canada. It might only be rated 14A, which means 14 and over can go in without an adult. But if you're under 14, you have to take an adult with you. But anyway, I had a fun time with it. And it's only like an hour and a half long. So Yeah, sign me up. I went to go see that right after work on Friday, and then I was home for a late dinner. So, yeah, because we're getting way too many movies that are like 2.5, 3 hours, more than 3 hours long lately. I'm just, I don't got the time. And most people don't go see those things anyway because who has that kind of time? I mean, that's something Hollywood needs to learn, that people don't have that kind of time, and you got to give them a really good reason to invest like 3 hours or more. Especially you got to go there and then come back, but also you want to get there early if you're going to the concession. Also, you don't want to be late. Sometimes they run the trailers for 5 minutes. Sometimes they run the trailers for 15 or 20 minutes, and you don't know. But I don't like being one of those people that comes in late. And I see that a lot at the theater here I go to. A lot of people coming in late all the time, usually because they're just lining up. Huge lineups at the concession still because everyone's still going to see Barbie. However, if you've seen Barbie, I'm not saying don't go see it, but check out Strays. It's a fun time. I mean, especially if you like Will Ferrell or like his kind of comedy, or Jamie Foxx, his kind of comedy. I tend to like everything that Jamie Foxx is in. Well, no, not everything. There are some things he's in that I don't like, but I don't blame him for that. He's always great and everything. So I give it a best movie ever. Probably one of the better comedies for this year, but hasn't been that great of a year for comedy. We haven't had good comedies for a while. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the new Strays movie. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Did anyone else check it out, or am I the only one? It's probably not going to open up to #1 this weekend, but we'll see what happens, if it's still Barbie or if it's going to be Blue Beetle. But I don't think it's going to be Strays. My next review is another new movie, is Blue Beetle, which just comes out this weekend. So I went to go see this, and I was not very excited. I was at first, but then the latest trailer that they came out with maybe it was like 2 or 3 weeks back, Christine and I reviewed it, and as I'm watching, this is just Iron Man 1. And it just looks as if it's so many other movies. And other people have said this too, it's very generic superhero. It's a lot of tropes and everything. And I put up an out of the theater reaction on my channel. This didn't really work for me that much. Maybe it was just too generic. I mean, I don't really know anything about the Blue Beetle character from the comics. I mean, it's a different type of superhero in the sense that this is all about a Latino character, and it's with his family. So it's similar to Fast and the Furious because it's all about family, and family's really involved. Now, but to me, it's just kind of a rip-off of the first Iron Man. Even if it's not Tony Stark with his girlfriend Pepper Potts, it's this kid, Jaime Reyes. That's the character's name, played by an actor I cannot pronounce his name. Solo, who's from, what's that show? That really popular show that's on Netflix now, Cobra Kai. Yeah, I recently tapped out of Cobra Kai after the last season. It just became too much of a soap opera for me. But it still had some good seasons in it. So currently Blue Beetle has a 75% certified fresh rating, critic rating, 170 reviews, and a 92% audience score with over 500 verified ratings. So it's getting good reviews. Most of the DCEU movies don't have that good high of critic score or of an audience score. So people are enjoying it. It was fun, but there really didn't seem to be anything a lot new. Some of the jokes were just kind of lame and corny a bit. There was some funny stuff in it, but not that much. And I don't know why this guy is called Blue Beetle, because if you've seen in the trailer, every time the suit goes on from the Scarab, which sounds ridiculous, every time the Blue Beetle suit goes on him, it burns off his clothes. So then he's out being Blue Beetle, and then every time the suit goes away, he's nude. So I'm not sure why they call him the Blue Beetle. They should call this guy the Flasher. And if he's not careful, he's going to be known as the Flasher. Because everywhere he goes, because he keeps having this problem. And I'm sitting there, and it made me think of, remember the Netflix series Luke Cage? And Mike Coulter playing Luke Cage, which I watched that first season. It was great. I don't think I got around, well, the first half of the first season where he was going up against Mahershala Ali Cottonmouth. It was great. And I think who was else in the background there playing there? Viola Davis. But Mike Coulter as Luke Cage, he's like sick of having to buy new clothes because he keeps getting shot up and he's bulletproof. Whereas this guy, his suit's burning up all his clothes. He's going to have a talk with that AI system and be like, hey, could you maybe stop burning my clothes? Maybe just form over top of my clothes. And then I'm not streaking every time like the suit goes away. And there's some... Yeah, it just doesn't seem like very good. Like that guy's going to be spending a lot of money on wardrobe. Whew. Anyway, and they're not exactly a rich family. The world that they're in another one of those fake DC cities. It's called Palmyra City. You know, so other fake DC cities like Gotham City, Metropolis, Coast City, Central City, Amnesty Bay. So it's another fake place. There's a lot of neon lights and a lot of neon colors in it. It definitely has a certain visual style, but I found it to be it was almost, this is a made-for-TV movie that got put into the big screen, that got put onto the big screen, because originally this movie, Blue Beetle, was made to be released on HBO Max, which is now Max. And the new management at Warner Brothers changed that, and they said, no, we're going to put this in theaters and try to make some money off of it. Because if they release it onto streaming, directly onto streaming, they don't actually make money. They hope to get more subscribers and keep their current subscribers. But if you actually put it in theater, and even if it I think projected was only supposed to make around 30 million opening weekend this weekend. Even that's 30 million they weren't going to have. I don't know what the budget of this is, but it's probably a lot, which means, you know, all the last few DC movies have flopped. The Flash flopped. Shazam, Fury of the Gods flopped. Black Adam flopped. What was before that? We had Peacemaker, but that was a show. So we had the Suicide Squad. That one flopped. Birds of Prey movie. Yeah, none of these have made money. Some of them have broken even, but like this year they've just been outright flops because people aren't going to see them. I've seen Shazam. I've seen all of them. I saw Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and The Flash, and I enjoyed both of them, but most audiences aren't going to see it because they're checked out of these DC movies. And now you got one that's, it's okay. I don't think anyone's going to go see it, though, or not enough to make a profit, actually. But if you like the actor from Cobra Kai, I'll try to pronounce his name, Zolo Mariduna. I'm sorry, buddy. Not that he's going to see this. It's got Susan Sarandon in it. She's the other big name. I'm not really a big Susan Sarandon fan, and I mean, she doesn't have that big of a part in it. She's just kind of, you know, the stereotypical cartoon wacky supervillain. I also got a lot of vibes from Watchmen in it. There's definitely some things that if you saw the Watchmen movie, you'll look at this and you'll be like, yep, definitely Watchmen right there, and there, and there. So a lot of the stuff in this just reminds me of other movies. It's like, this has been done before. It's not really new. You even recognize a lot of the things in the trailer from other movies, which is why I wasn't excited going into it. So didn't really work for me. It was kind of okay at best. And as a filmmaker, and as a movie, you never want your movie to be just okay or fine, because that means easily forgettable. No one's rushing out to go see it. No one really cares. You're not going to have repeat viewings. You're not going to have lots of streams. You're not going to have lots of physical media copies sold of it. It's okay. Now, if this is big for the Latino community, I think that's great. Hopefully it is, and they'll identify with this character, but I just really couldn't get into it. It's not that it was bad, it was just, all of this has been done before, and I'm just kind of, what am I doing here? You know? It just didn't work that well for me, even though I did mention there is several good things in it that I did enjoy. Anyway, did anyone else see this new Blue Beetle, aka the Flasher? Let me know your comments down. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, please. If anyone could give us a like or thumbs up, that would be great. We really appreciate it. Fluffy Kitty would definitely appreciate it. And so would the Fawns. Well, it's Monday night, so that means I'm going to be reviewing the new episode of Futurama that just aired on Disney Plus today. Or if you're in the United States, it's on Hulu there. So episode 4 is called Parasites Regained. This one was all right. It actually had I found myself laughing quite a bit at this one, actually. So who do we get to see guest star in this one? It's mostly we get to see Nibbler. So there's some cameos of old characters near the beginning, but then most of the episode we do see a bit of Nibbler, but we get to see the parasite worms again that infected Fry back in, I think, season 3 it was, and they had to shrink down and go into the ship and go into Fry to get the worms out, and the worms were making them smarter, and for some reason they had to get rid of them. These ones are actually infecting Nibbler and his litter box, and so they're making him dumber. So they have to go into, they don't go into a Body Works thing and go into Nibbler. They actually have to go into his litter box because the worms are infecting the litter box as well, and they keep reinfecting them. So there's we see a lot of different parasites and bugs and everything. It's pretty gross, and they keep calling it gross too all the time. It's quite funny. So the three of them, Fry, Leela, Bender, they don't go in the Planet Express ship, they go in a tank, which then immediately sinks into the litter box. And really, they're just making fun of Dune here, because they keep saying Dune. But yeah, they're making fun of the Dune movie and the upcoming Dune Part 2, as well as the books. So there's the spice that they're all getting high on, just like in Dune. There's the sandworms, and then there's all these other disgusting things. But the three of them go, and instead of taking Amy with them, or Scruffy, they take Zoidberg, which I thought was an odd choice, although they get to make fun of him quite a bit. We get to see an old reoccurring gag with Hermes. He's not in it very much, but it's a long-running Hermes gag. You'll recognize it when you see it. I think this one was quite funny, actually. It had the usual kind of a predictable ending, let's say. I'm not gonna ruin it, but I had fun with this one. Didn't get to see a lot of guest stars or the reoccurring characters, but there was a few things in there. Anyone else checking out the new season of Futurama? Have you checked out episode 4 of this new season, which Disney is calling season 11, but Wikipedia is calling it season 8? I don't know. Let me know what you think of this new episode, Parasites Regained, down in the comments below. Love to hear from people. So for anyone who watched our episode last week, it was just me that episode as well, but I was watching The Goonies, which is a classic kids adventure. It's kind of got a sweet, innocent charm to it, and it's quite good. But after watching that, and there's a lot of adventure, but there's also some swashbuckling in it, gave me the urge to go back and watch Pirates of the Caribbean. So I dug out my old DVD of Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl, aka number 1. This is from 2003. Now, I never looked it up here before. On Rotten Tomato, it currently has an 80% certified fresh rating and an 86% audience score. So after watching The Goonies, I'm like, I feel like watching that. I'm not going to watch the whole franchise. I don't have time for all 5 movies. But I'll just watch the first one, have a fun time, see if it still holds up. And yeah, it definitely still holds up. I had a lot of fun watching this. I mean, not only is the score... Normally I don't notice scores in movies that much because a lot of the scores aren't very good unless it's John Williams. Some of the others are good. So a lot of the John Williams ones like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park. I mean, he's done so many of the famous scores. Sometimes some of the other composers like Danny Elfman or Hans Zimmer or Gore Verbinski, they'll have a good score as well. This one also had a really good score. I'm not saying it's as good as like John Williams, but I really enjoy it because it has that really enthusiastic, swashbuckling music to go along with it that builds up as it keeps going each crescendo. So I had fun with that. Now, a lot of people will say this movie that it was made by Johnny Depp's acting. You know what? I disagree with that. Yeah, his acting as Captain Jack Sparrow, and he's acting all okay, all the time, and he's just the lovable scoundrel. I mean, he's really good in it. His character is much more interesting than Orlando Bloom's character, Will Turner. I mean, Jeffrey Rush as Captain Barbossa, he looks like he's chewing all the scenery on set. He's just having a great time. He's overacting like crazy. He knows he's in a kid's movie and it's a Disney movie, but I mean, they really got the aesthetic to look really good for this. I know this movie is inspired by the ride at the Disney parks, but they still made a really fun movie of this. Even if you didn't have Johnny Depp in it, if you had cast someone else and they had played the role of Jack Sparrow a bit differently, you know, maybe it wouldn't have been as fun. Maybe it would have been better. I don't know, but the rest of the story still seems to be pretty good. I mean, you got Will Turner is going after Elizabeth Swann. With spoilers for a movie that's 20 years old now. Okay? Elizabeth Swann gets kidnapped by the pirates because she's got the gold medallion, which she stole from Will when he was young and they were on the crossing over from England. So they take her and the Aztec gold that she has, the medallion, and they got to get back to their secret island place, the Isla de Muerta, so that they can break this curse from this Aztec gold, and that's why it's called the Curse of the Black Pearl, because they're all, you know, that's the spoiler of the movie, is that they're not actually pirates, they're all undead pirates, and they're cursed because of that. Now, a lot of the effects don't really hold up. I mean, they still look pretty decent, the skeleton pirate effects. I mean, you notice that there's no blood in this, so it's definitely Disney. And still it works. I mean, the skeleton pirates they're a bit creepy in that, but, you know, most kids can handle it. What's the rating on this? I think it was rated PG-13 in the US. So in Canada, it's just rated PG. Here we just... I guess kids are a little bit tougher here. We just don't really care that much. It's like, yeah, sure, they can go watch it. So the pirates they have their own motivations. They want to break this curse. Jack Sparrow just wants to get his ship back and, you know, steal as much as he can for himself. Keira Knightley wants to get away from the pirates, and she's infatuated with, she has a crush on Orlando Bloom's character, Will Turner, and he has a crush on her, but she's considering an offer from Commodore Norrington. That's what's his name? Jack Davenport, I think it was. It's been a while since I've watched one of these movies, actually. Yeah, Jack Davenport is Commodore Norrington, and he's great in it. Everyone is super great in this. The least interesting character, though, for me is Orlando Bloom's character, Will Turner, because he's just he's just too much of a Boy Scout. It's like, we have to do this, no compromise, can't compromise at all. It has to be this way because this is right, and then it's a great swashbuckling adventure because they got to go after the pirates and they got to rescue people, and there's a lot of back and forth. The ending to me really doesn't make any sense because, I mean, they go after, what is it? Keira Knightley convinces Commodore Norrington to go after the pirates and save Will if she agrees to marry him. So they go after him. They have there's a big battle and everything. So that's why he went after them. I mean, I guess he's saving a citizen of Port Royal, but I don't think he would have gotten in trouble for that. Maybe just, his superiors might not have liked that. But they get Will Turner, and they get Jack Sparrow as well, because his crew of Mr. Gibbs, and who's played by Kevin R. McNally, and Zoe Saldana, and Mr. Cotton and his parrot, they all take off because they're pirates, which they use that joke very well in this movie, and it's a running gag. They use it multiple times, and it's great each time. So the humor still holds up for me in this movie. But then they go back to Port Royal, and they're gonna hang Jack Sparrow because he's a pirate, and he did do all those terrible things in front of them. But then Will Turner, who comes in at the end, and am I the only one that noticed this? At the end, when they're gonna hang Jack Sparrow, Will Turner comes in, and he's wearing a costume. He's wearing D'Artagnan's costume from Disney's The Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeers, which is from sometime in the 90s. I'm trying to look it up right now, but it's coming up with, there's like 20 different versions of The Three Musketeers, because it's public domain. Anyway, so sometime in the 90s here. It's not even coming up here. Okay. Anyway, in the 90s, there was the Three Musketeers, and Chris O'Donnell was D'Artagnan. And at the beginning of the movie, he has this fancy outfit with this French hat and a feather sticking out and a red cape. I swear Will Turner came out wearing the exact same thing. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen and compare, see if they're the same. Anyway, he turns around and he goes and saves Jack Sparrow, even though then they suddenly get surrounded. And then Elizabeth jumps in front, and all the soldiers put their guns away because the governor says so, and then he falls off the roof and his ship's there, and Commodore Norrington just lets Will go, even though he just helped a pirate, an enemy of the crown, escape, and also she helped as well, and I'm like, what is going on here? Why is this happening? And then they give him a head start and they don't chase after him. None of that seems in character and it doesn't seem to make any kind of logical sense to me. But, oh well, I didn't write it. Other than the ending not really making much sense, this movie worked really well for me. It had a fun story, lots of fun characters, and you understand a lot of the characters' motivations. Even like Zoe Saldana's character, who's barely in it, you can understand her motivation is she wants her boat back, or a better one. All the pirates make sense. They want to break this curse. Okay? So it had the swashbuckling adventure. It had lots of funny jokes. It had, lots of recognizable characters. More in this one than I found in future movies. What else there? And the score was quite amazing there. Yeah, overall, okay. Glad I kept this DVD. I'm giving this a best movie ever. Been many years since I saw it, and I enjoyed this quite a lot. Now, kind of makes me want to go watch some of the other ones. I mean, some are not so good, but others are quite good as well. However, maybe I'll put it on my list of movie franchises in the future that I'll get to for our ongoing movie franchises that we do. And then we'll sit down and watch all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, even that new one, which was... I saw it once in the theater and it was god-awful. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's gotten worse. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Pirates of the Caribbean #1, The Curse of the Black Pearl from 2003? Hey there, kitty. Here she is. Let me know your thoughts on... Ooh, she's feisty. Let me know your thoughts on Pirates of the Caribbean from 2003 down in the comments below. Take care.